Yeah, we really need to work on these storylines if we're going to be starting to do stuff like that more often, because that didn't feel like it even happened.
We need to stop being horribly sick that we can't move for some weeks.
Curse you, mangoes! Well, welcome to the PrinnyCast Roundtable for January 24th, 2014. We're a casual weekly show where we talk about what we've been up to and the various gaming-related stuff and over the last week. We're your hosts. I'm Chris. Rover's back with us. He got over his mango trouble. And Mike's back with us.
Hello.
Roger, mangoes make you drunk.
And Ed is, as always, chatting with us through text messages, and you'll see some various Kickstarter projects. There may be some stuff from longplace.org back there again, because there just wasn't a whole lot on Kickstarter lately. Check out the links below if you're curious about any of those or want to help fund them. The bundles this outing include Humble Weekly, which is all about roguelikes. You'll see actually the trailer interspersed between the stills of these other bundles that we're talking about, including the Indie Royale Debut Bundle 9, and Groupie's got a Retro Groupie 2 going on with an 18-game Irem Arcade Hits collection. That's a fantastic deal right there, unless you...
That's a lot of damn arcades.
Plus Saturday Morning RPG, so definitely grab some of the stuff on this one. There's a lot of good stuff in there, and you build your own bundle, so you get what you want. And the Bundle Stars Kingdom Bundle with some upper-end goodness for strategy game lovers. I wish I had more income. I'd be gobbling up so much cheap gaming. Nom 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 nom.
I'd be playing MMO.
Not that I haven't been getting a few of these anyway, but I did pick up Saturday Morning RPG, and since I already mentioned that, I guess I'll go ahead and start with what I've been playing this week. I actually started up my whole bunch of new games this week while I've been recovering from this sick thing. Plenty of work getting caught up too, and that's not really gone particularly well, but while still trying to keep up with Tynan and the downright tragic events going on with the server there, I dabbled through the tutorial of Reuse. I feel like I should explain these games a little bit, but if I do that, it takes too long, so. Tried some Pineapple Smash Crew, which is a roguelike shooting sort of thing. Picked up and played through an episode of that long-awaited RPG I was just talking about. I've been itching to get my hands on that one for a long time, and it showed up in the Groupies bundle. So, Saturday Morning RPG, it's not a great game, but it's just one of those type of games that's just chock full of nostalgia, even stuff I'd forgotten about at the 80s, and it's keeping a nice little grin on my face. And then there's, I've also got pretty deep into Legendary, which is ultimately a very bare-bones first-person shooter that takes a concept you don't see very often about opening Pandora's box in the middle of New York City, and so you got griffins and tectonic entities and werewolves and all sorts of stuff. Personally, I'm enjoying this more than I did Fear, and they're very, very similar games, and this one's actually programmed worse. But I've been enjoying it more. But anyway, some really breathtaking set pieces for the budget they had to work with, so it's kind of cool. Not to mention, this is actually an idea I had in my youth as a video game developer about the days that Resident Evil first came out, and I thought, you know what would really make an interesting kind of horror action adventures stealth sort of thing? Have all these mythical creatures wandering around a major metropolis. I guess they finally did it. There you go.
They could have just did it in Detroit. It would be kind of fitting, actually.
And somebody out there says, well, if it was set in Detroit or New Jersey, would anybody even notice? So there you go.
No one would even care.
I know they're out there. So what about you, Grover? What you been up to?
The only game that I actually played enough that anything of notice happened is Final Fantasy XIV. I began the Summoner Relic Weapon quest. I beat Chimera, got my ass kicked a couple times on Hydra before I finally beat it, and was just bouncing up in joy when that happened. I went to hard mode Ifrit. Didn't have any problem for that. Went to Garuda hard mode and got eradicated. Tried about 25 more times and got eradicated even more. So, yeah, really bad. And I also beat Crystal Tower for the first time, which was, I've been keeping away from it, thinking it was extremely hard. Then we did it, and I found it to be the stupidestly easy dungeon on the face of the planet. Because it's a raid. It's a raid. It has 24 people. So I'm just like, really? 24 people? Yeah. I accidentally forgot to pass on the items that it drops in there, and there's a problem in the Crystal Tower. If you get an item, you're locked out for the entire week for another item until the reset. So it announced that I got a summoner hat, and I was just like, son of a bitch, I didn't want that. But too late, I already got it, and I'm screwed until Monday at 9 a.m. And that's about it for interesting things.
What about you, Mike? What have you been up to?
Well, I played a lot of Spelunky. I played a lot of Binding of Isaac. I beat it a couple more times, so I unlocked some new stuff, which was cool.
Those indie roguelikes.
Yeah, I'm having a good time with them. I actually bought the Humble Weekly Sale because it had several roguelikes that I didn't have, so looking forward to some more dungeon crawls there. And then, of course, I played the obligatory World of Warcraft that I play every week. And I actually downloaded and started playing Dishonored on my computer, and it seems to run pretty well, so I'll probably pick that up later on in the week as well, try to finish it.
All right, I'm caught up. So other than that, the Prinny Plays are still delaying. I haven't gotten quite through the technical issues going on there. I should just record.
Got sick.
Well, yeah, the sick is really what's slowed everything down. That and the fact that losing a week of work means I have to work twice as hard this last week, and me not being quite over it yet. I've had a lot of days where my brain just kind of turned into the turtle while the hare ran its race. So I'm trying to get caught up. I'm not really behind on anything, but aside from Prinny, all the Prinny stuff is really behind. The review show is underway. There's some stuff about it that I'm thinking that I really need to do some work on the sets because it's just not working out. The little TV screen is just too small. And Mike picked a hard one to get video for.
If you want to hang on to it, I just got my controller back. I don't know how I would do this.
Until you get a capture card, and you can't get the capture card until you upgrade your computer, so.
I don't really know.
I got a little time to try to figure it out still. I'm having a weird lag issue trying to animate your beak like I do with Game News, but for some reason, the way I've got things setting up is it runs slower than it does through Game News, and I don't know why that is. So your beak's not quite matching with your words, even though they should be.
Just drunk broadcasting.
That and I also designed those particular animations to be working with Game News so you couldn't see your feet. But now you can see your feet, and they kind of wobble and hop up and down a little bit. So I'm going to have to do some...
Why did you make this harder on yourself, Chris?
I don't know. If it wasn't for YouTube's stupid copyright bot, I would just show the video outright and not worry about it. But
we know about that.
Anyway, let me see, where am I? Oh, that was it. That was it, because my topic... There's a really good topic I want to get to, but my brain is just not into it, and it may be something you guys want to research a little bit anyway. And games are not exactly the same as they used to be. We got stuff like Dear Esther and Proteus, which is... What do you even call that? I think both of you's played that now. It's like Minecraft where you just walk around. You do nothing. There is no objective. There is no items. There's not even a jump button. You just walk through this procedurally generated place that's kind of musical as the birds fly by, or you make the little weird rabbits.
There's a game where you're a deer and the same thing about happens. Deer and you're wandering around in the forest as your forest friend. There's absolutely no danger and you can't do anything. You just roam around.
And then you got stuff like Beyond Two Souls and Heavy Rain, which are more movies than they are video games. And then you've got stuff that kind of turned the gaming on its ear, like Portal and Stanley Parable, where it's not gaming the way you would have thought gaming should have been.
Stanley Parable isn't really a game, it's more of an experience.
That's kind of what I mean. There's a lot of these games that are barely considerably games anymore, but they're just as big of a deal as anything.
It's an interactive story, really. It's not a video game as in what you would traditionally think is a video game, like that Dear Esther.
And then there's just stuff that take gaming concepts and turn it into a new light, like that Shelter, about you're leading your little badger babies through the forest.
I haven't heard that one.
It's not a bad game. It's actually got a lot going for it, but it's really, really slow, and unfortunately it's really, really glitchy because I've gotten to a point I cannot beat because there's a giant invisible wall, and where you're supposed to go you cannot clear in time before the hawk steers your babies. So I think I glitched it somehow, and I've never gotten back to it since.
Yeah, that's happened to me too. Game glitches, and you're like, well, that sucks, and you never go back.
And I guess I'll just go ahead and keep this entire conversation because, like I said, I have no topic. There's some really good ideas I want to get into. Some of them were actually sent to us. Some of them I've had on the burner for way back.
Wayback Machine.
Yeah, there's one, what next-gen consoles are planning and what we would like to see happen with them. That was supposed to happen like a year and a half ago.
Oopsie.
Yeah, we now have the next-gen consoles. Well, not we have, but, they're out. And then stuff
I've seen them both, and they are amazingly underwhelming to me.
So far, I kind of see them the same way.
It seems to be the general consensus. Consensus? What's a consensus?
Consensus.
I meant the word that I was going to use was consensus.
Yeah, I know. Let's make some really powerful console systems and then use extremely underwhelming games as beginners.
And that, I think, is a lot of the problem. There's nothing that's really proven, even in the case of the Wii U, there's nothing that's really proven the system necessary for its existence.
The only thing that's still true about the Wii U is the damn Nintendo hard stuff, because I've been playing the Wii U with Mario games, and dear God, some of those levels are really, really torturous.
But but it's nothing that the Wii couldn't have handled.
No,
Heck, some of it's probably not even stuff the GameCube couldn't have handled if they pulled back a little bit of the graphics.
That's going a bit too far, I think.
Maybe.
There's
It
a lot of stuff
probably
going
is.
on the screen on the Wii U. I gotta admit that. There is tons of stuff going on.
Yeah, there's a lot, and I'll grant you that it was probably possible to dial down, maybe some of the shininess of the graphics and the distance that you see into the background that you actually go to and put it on the Wii and not the Wii U, but I'd rather have my shiny characters and my ability to move into the background that's really, really far away and I can still see it all.
Oh, yeah. There's
I tell you, Rayman on the Wii U is absolutely gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
It's honestly one of the more gorgeous games I've seen. It's just amazing looking.
It is one of the games
artist
that I
drawn.
wanted.
Yeah.
And when I made that statement, I didn't mean that it wasn't like, we don't need these systems to bring us up to another level, because there's no way we could have had games like Wonderful 101 or anything like that in a prior system.
Yeah.
But as far as having games that go out of their way to say, this is the time we needed these new consoles. But that's what's even more strange about it is this was the longest lasting console generation we have ever had. It's like 8 years.
Yeah, it lasted a long time.
And there's not much saying that it couldn't have lasted longer.
I mean, look how much they pumped out of PlayStation 2 before they finally retired it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that was less than a year ago.
Yeah, I still play it probably as much as any. Well, okay, I play PC the most, but that's just because it's so easy to access.
If I had my PlayStation 2 hooked up, the only thing I would ever play on it is probably the old Final Fantasy games and Mega Man, because I have the collections.
Oh, come on. There's one more series you need to play or Edna will kill you.
Well, I have that on DS.
There you go.
I don't need the PlayStation 2 for it anymore. I have it portable.
Saved yourself on that one. Why'd you?
I reached the end of the grid. I couldn't take any more moves until my next turn.
My brain went dead.
Yeah,
Damn it. I'm experiencing minor vertigo again. That's why my brain, I'm just like, oh.
It's my voice. It gets in your skull and it makes you sick.
They did say that, they're doing the underwhelming stuff right now because they're just testing the low-level stuff for the systems, and
That's
eventually
so-
later on they're going to go crazy with them. But I'm just like, why not do that immediately?
It's so dumb. There's nothing worth getting the new systems for, really. I mean, I'm as much of a Nintendo fanboy as the next person, but I don't even think that Wii U, until Smash Brothers comes out, will have enough on it to warrant an early purchase. I have mine because I got it as a gift.
I mean, the only reason we're getting PlayStation 4 is because Final Fantasy 14 is coming out on it.
But you already have it on your PCs.
You have it on
I know
PC.
well, he's got that on PlayStation 3,
Oh.
and they're saying it will run on the PlayStation 4 just as good as it would on a high-end PC, and I'm like, bullshit. I want to see.
It
I
might
want to
run
see
pretty
that.
good.
It might.
Plus, I think the internet infrastructure is going to be a lot more beefy on the PS4, so that could help with things like lag and stuff the PS3 might have had trouble with. Don't shoot me, I don't know that much
it
about the
struggles really
PS3
bad on
infrastructure,
the PS3.
but I've heard a few
It really
things
does.
about its internet.
There's nothing like I'll be sitting there, I'll go and watch him play the game, and all the characters are doing that drifting stuff where they're just standing stock still and they're moving and they're gliding along. And all the monsters are doing it too, and I'm just, I can't help it. Every time I say that, I start laughing. It just reminds me of Team Fortress 2 when I would see him doing that.
But anyway, I guess for now, I know that has a much bigger conversation we can get into because the potential death of Nintendo is a very big conversation right now. The two battle of the consoles, and I've really noticed that after all of the really nasty low blows they've been giving each other, now that they're all three out, how much that Microsoft and Sony are both patting each other on the back, as well as Nintendo, saying that we all have amazing systems. Let's enjoy this. Where did that come from?
Thing a month ago.
Even Sony has been saying that Nintendo needs to succeed in order for the gaming industry to move forward.
Yeah, they're all really being nice to each other. I think it's because they know that we may be in some dark times ahead. Because the gaming industry was one of the few that was not really being touched by this whole recession economy stuff until the last year and a half or so.
Yeah.
And with these new systems out, it's a big risk for these companies. Because they lose money on most of the systems they sell. It doesn't seem like it because they're so expensive, but usually the systems are more expensive than what they're actually selling them for. And they make the money back through other means. So this is do or die.
Perspective, Sony barely recovered from PlayStation 3 issues.
Oh yeah,
I mean, they just broke even. I think, what was it, about a year ago? They broke even, are now making money on it.
Yeah, they had a good couple of years there at the end.
Yeah, really good years.
Not that
And
Microsoft didn't
Nintendo
either.
still hasn't made a damn dime off the Wii U. They gotta keep getting going.
But thankfully, they're a handheld monster, so they're keeping
Yeah,
afloat
they don't.
there.
No, the handhelds float them forever. They actually the Wii U's like chump change to them compared to their handhelds.
But even then, they had a lot of trouble getting that 3DS off the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And the Vita both kind of just sat there for a while. But before we make this an hour show, follow us on at Twitter. At Twitter. Follow us on Twitter at PrinnyCast, and you can contact us via email at prinnycast@gmail.com. I'm stuttering now. Find the rest of the links to YouTube and Twitch and all that good stuff down below. And we will catch you next week, hopefully with our brains back intact. We'll be off the island and back to normal and whatever else our storyline was supposed to have happened that really didn't make any sense.
Mm-hmm.
We have no story. We have no plot. What are we doing this for?
We are ageless Prinnies.
Victory. Oh, I guess we need to say goodbye before I shut this off. See y'all next week.
Goodbye before I shut this off.
Goodbye.